just for fun. All right, we're back in the shop here. Me and Mr. Chow spent a good part of January down with the sickness, so we're back. We're back in the shop doing some work, some things. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna pull the motor in the Race Summit here beside me today. But before that, I gotta talk about the Phazer, because every video is a little bit about the Phazer. I took apart the gauge on this thing, did a few things behind the scenes on the handlebars there. But the big thing is that I wanted to get the speedo working. So I took it all apart, and even in this one little video clip, hey, there it is. So I took that all apart, got the speedo working. I have it plugged into the driver. I haven't actually ran it up yet. I haven't got the track moving to test out if we finally have a speedo on the old Phazer again, but we should. As long as the speedo gear off the driver is good, which I think it is, we should be good. We should have a speedo now. I got the track put on the turbo finally, so that means this machine actually got the Arctic Cat bag from off my Arctic Cat turbo. What else did I do to this thing while you guys weren't looking? Oh, I went and grabbed the new upper air stuff for the engine, air cowling, whatever you want to call it. I put one of these belt holder things that I picked up from Royal Distributing. Yeah, I ordered another box of parts for stuff. I put one on the Phazer here. And now that it's there, it totally blocks the air venting, and the belt gets hung up by the hood and you can't actually use it. But whatever, that's there. Of course, we did the engine on the Phazer and lots of other stuff. This engine isn't even broken in yet on this machine. And you can watch it here in this playlist. Yeah, the Phazer is like the golden unit right now that everything works on. I didn't want to make a whole video of it just over that stuff, so I'm just including it in this one. Let's get on to the Race Summit. The snow's kind of sucked this year, but it's finally getting it now. We haven't gone out that much in the early season here. We kind of already made it a deal that we're going to make up for it with some mid and late season riding and into the spring too. So we'll be doing that. But in the meantime, let's work on some sleds. So a little ways back with this thing, we redid the entire fuel system. We did a lot of stuff to it, and we put everything back together. We got everything back together, assembled right, and found out that the leading cause of that fire, because this unit was lit on fire at some point, the leading cause of that fire was not actually a fuel line leaking, it was actually the fuel pump leaking. So in that box back there, I have a ton of more parts for this thing that we're going to be putting in today. Now, the catch with that is that the fuel pump is installed under the engine. And I had the total chance that I could have relocated that fuel pump to a more serviceable, better location, and I didn't do it. And now the fuel pump is puking fuel everywhere and needs to be rebuilt, which means we got to take the engine out again today. That's on me. We're gonna relocate the fuel pump today, though. The only other thing I did behind the scenes is I did have to reseat some of the fittings on the fuel tank because some of them did start leaking later on. So this thing was just been a fuel leaking mess, and even though all of the hoses and lines in there are brand new, we're still gonna have to dig in there deep to get that fuel pump out. We got some exhaust springs, we got suspension bushings, we got some we got all the air intake stuff in here. We'll get all that done. Of course, the fuel pump rebuild kit. We'll be doing that. That's like the whole reason for today's video. We'll have to figure out where exactly we're going to remount that fuel pump. I don't know where it's going to go yet, but since we don't have an air box in this thing, we got lots of room. Okay, we got all these fuel parts, all these intake parts. I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor because next video we will have to do electrical and braking system as well. And we'll get that bumper polished up and put on too. But for today's video, let's get that fuel system solved once and for all. Second video, same sled. I'm going to get the motor out, figure out where we can put that fuel pump in a way better spot. Okay, that was pretty quick to get into this. Luckily, I didn't actually have to take out the motor. I was able to just move it to the side a little bit. And now we're in the fuel pump, and we're going to take this all out. Going to strip the lines out. Going to remount the fuel pump somewhere else in a more serviceable location. But before we do that, I'm going to get it out, and we're going to give it a rebuild. Okay, here is our fuel pump from our race summit. So this is like a dual stage fuel pump. It's actually more like two fuel pumps stacked on top of each other. So we got one for the front pickup on the tank and one for the rear pickup on the tank. Yeah, you can see that's really been leaking. One for the front pickup, one for the rear pickup, and then these are the pressure lines. These three here. They'll join up from both of these pumps to one fitting, and then each of these goes to the carb, and then these lines are each vacuum lines, so those go back to our motor. So I'm gonna open up these fuel pumps here now, and we're going to do a rebuild on them. So lucky for us, these fuel pumps are super easy to work on. You can see how gross that one is. We should have been in there. We should have done this before. So all it is a couple of gaskets and then a membrane in between the two chambers. The vacuum pressure comes from the engine, and then this thing kind of just acts like a lung. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So we got all new seals here, and even brand new little check valves that will be sticking into the pump itself. We definitely also have some tool marks in here, so somebody was poking around in here before and screwing stuff up. Okay, so we got our fuel pump and check valves all rebuilt now. Both fuel pumps should be good now to go ahead and we'll put this back in to the sled here somewhere. We're gonna find a new location for it, so it's not under the motor. So if we have any issues with it in the future, it's not going to be under the motor this time. So now I'm going to pop the motor in. I'm going to put the fuel pump in last, because what I'm going to be doing is putting in the intake, putting in the engine, putting in the fuel tank, and then this is going to go just wherever there's room for it. I've got all the air intakes all set up here. I decided to go with individual pods instead of an air box because back there, I'm not even sure if we could actually get an air box to fit in this unit. This thing's undergone some custom stuff, and this motor isn't even supposed to be in this chassis. I've got the air intakes installed. The one in the middle looks a little bit different because it's a little bit older, and at one point, a long time ago, it actually lived on the Phazer here. Everything is just dry fit at this point. I'm gonna pop on the fuel tank right now, and I'm gonna figure out where exactly I need to mount this fuel pump to give us a nice little short circuit and make it really easy for us to work on in the future. Oh, we got little critters living in here still. Okay, I got the exhaust on, I got all the intakes on, I've got the fuel tank set up. This thing is ready to be ran. So I've actually spent a couple of days figuring out where everything needs to go for that fuel system, running out, grabbing some little parts and stuff that I needed. So we're gonna let it sit overnight now, and in the morning we'll come back. I want to let some of that gasket material set up a little more so we don't have another fuel leak. And in the morning, we should be able to wake up the neighborhood. Okay, this is it. This is the day. This is the day we're going to get the triple going. It's going to be the last time we ever have to take out the motor because everything's just going to work after this. Yeah, we'll spend next video on making it pretty, but this video is about making it move. This will be the first time, if everything goes well, that the track will move on it. Oh, and I also have the bumper on this thing now, so we can actually put it up on the track stand and run it. We're gonna blow it up, Blow it up. Where's the fire extinguisher? Oh, the fuel is on the way. Keep pulling. What was that? All cylinders.
Here you go, Mr. Thirsty. More tea, Mr. Sled?
What am I doing? Okay. This will be the first time the track's ever moved. Is way too loud to run up around here. Holy. Okay, so I really did want to make this thing scream today, but this is way too loud to run up around this neighborhood. We're gonna have to take it out somewhere to run it, because like, I don't mind things being like a little loud. Like I remember when we had the piped M7 running, the big bore M7 running up. Yeah, I was getting looks from that thing, but taking this thing much above an idle, that's just downright disrespectful. And I already know one of my neighbors doesn't like me, so I'm trying not to, you know. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get the coolant bled, because that doesn't involve taking it above much more than an idle. And if we're going to run this thing up, we got to actually take it somewhere, because this is, it can't be done here. So, we can load it on. Maybe we'll take it over to Dad's and tell him to wear earplugs, even though he'll be on a different machine. He'll have to wear earplugs because we'll be riding this. Or maybe the boys can take some time off work and we can run these things up. I know in this video it kind of feels like we're just back to where we were at the start of the last video, or the end of the last video. And mostly because that's true. But this is our $250 sled that caught on fire. So it's bound to have a bunch of little gremlins. So after I finish running it up, next video, I'm going to do a lot of little cleanup. There's a whole bin of parts over there, as well as a bin of parts that came with this thing. So next video is just going to be cleaning it up. And then after that, I think we need to take it for a ride and see what it can do. Yeah, I never did seal up the exhaust, so I will do that, but that'll be next time. I'm going to spiff up all the wiring now. I'm going to run out while I was at Sled Parlor grabbing the bumper. I totally forgot that I needed the fuel tank strap for this because if you ever notice in all the videos, this seat is just hanging out. And then the fuel tank isn't actually being held down with anything and just sitting there. So I'll run out and grab that. I totally forgot. We really need to put some power to the track, run it up under load, because these sleds, especially triples, they're so finicky, and if it runs right on the track stand, that does not mean it's going to run right with a bunch of load on it. This thing is just way too loud. We can't do it here, so we have to take it out for that. Now that everybody's feeling better, we're going to get some makeup trips in with me and Ben and Sean. Maybe an Alberta ride. I know a bunch of you on the Discord have expressed quite a bit of interest in that. There's a Backcountry Gamers Discord. You can go check it out if you're a nerd like me. One thing that nobody tells you about YouTubers is we're all dorks, all of us. So if you're a gaming guy, you can go over to the Discord and go hang out with other dorks just like you. And I'll be there too. Thanks everybody for watching today's video. I'm working on a Catalyst review video because I did get to spend some time out on that thing, and then we'll take this thing out and we'll take it for a rip. Thanks everybody for watching. On behalf of myself, Ben, Sean, everybody here at Six's Backcountry, keep your steak on the ice, you steak.